Welcome, fellow Goofballs, to a New York Giant Goofballs. Welcome, fellow Goofballs, to a New York Giant podcast. Look at that. You guys are late enough. Let's get this ball rolling here. So, welcome, fellow Goofballs, to a New York Giant, to a Two Giant Goofball podcast. I am not Drew, hence why I can't get this down right. Drew is gagging on mayonnaise out in Florida, down in Disney World. I am Rob, coming in solo, messing up the intro. So let's get this rolling. We got a lot to talk about, and I'm already 20 minutes late into the show. Let's talk about our number one and our number two QBs. DJ and Tyrod are out for this game coming up. DJ, if you haven't heard already, is out for the year. And you also got Tyrod, who is out on injury reserve. The Giants pick up Jacob Eason to the practice squad. He joined the Colts in 2020 through the draft via the fourth round. The man was a former Bulldog. He was 6'6" and 231 when he was drafted, but it didn't do much. In 2020, he served as a third-string quarterback behind starter Philip Rivers, if you can believe that. And he also backed up Jacob Brisket at the time. Oh, the year after. He did not play during his rookie season at all. He made his NFL debut week 2 during the 2021 season. He was relief for Carson Wentz during that terrible companion that he had down there. He completed 2 out of 5 passes for 25 yards and 1 interception in his NFL career. This is a guy we just picked up to be, I guess, our second string quarterback behind Danny DeVito. Not Tommy, Danny DeVito. Barkley also tried out for the G-Men and minicamp, but he didn't quite make it. New York Giants also made it in addition to their practice squad with Hassan Hall. That was reported by Dan Duggins of The Athletic. Hall's journey as a Giants practice squad moved him through multiple NFL teams. He started his career undrafted, signing with the Browns following the 2023 draft. He was waived during the final roster cutdowns, and the Browns re-signed him quickly to the practice squad. Although he was a short-lived Brown, he didn't last too long over there. They released him from the practice squad on the 29th of September. After that, he joined the practice squad of the Cardinals, and on the 1st, he was released, the 1st of November. And then again, he joined the practice squad of the Cardinals on the 1st of November and then dropped on the 6th of November. Hall's a smaller guy, but a lot of these guys coming out of this draft is pretty small. He's 5'10", weighing 196 pounds. He was showcased in impressive attributes. He was very fast. He was explosive, and he's agile, which is a lot of these guys that came out of this draft here. He played for Louisville, where he spent 4 years transferring to Georgia Tech, despite not having an extensive workload in either school. Hall's statistics includes 1,820 yards on 386 carries, averaging 4.7 yards per carry, total in 12 touchdowns. He also was a versatile receiver out of the backfield, both Louisville and Georgia Tech, notably. Hall also played as a kick returner throughout his whole college career, having returned 104 kicks, totaling of 2,581 yards, averaging 24.8 yards on the return. So maybe this is why we picked this guy up. He also had 2 touchdowns on these returns here. We also had Ojulari designate to return to our practice this week. And then we have DeVito, which if you haven't heard yet, is going to be our starter against the Cowboys. And then Barkley, not Shaq Barkley, but Saquon Barkley, has been elevated to the active roster and will be the backup for Mr. DeVito. And that should scare you. If you guys haven't heard, Drew lost last week. Poor Drew is gargling his mayonnaise right now in Orlando. So let's give you a quick recap of what happened last week. I had 77 straight up wins for the whole season, with 8 added to that from last week. Drew only had 5 straight up wins, giving him 83 wins on the year for the straight up. Drew only picked 4 against the Bengals. Drew only had 4 picks against the spread. I had 6. Drew had 5 of the over-unders. I had 4. And then trifectas, Drew had 2 of those guys, giving him 27 on the year, and I had 4 of those guys, giving me 26 on the year. So overall, I took the Drew over on the spreads, but he still leads me very short-handedly on everything else here. So Drew, you lost a week. Enjoy that mayonnaise. I'll catch you when you come back from Disney. But getting into this week 10 of football here. Thursday Night Football. We got the Panthers going into Chicago to play the Bears. The Bears are +4 in this game, and the over-under is a 30 when we took our picks here. Woof. Drew, he took the Bears to win this. He took the Bears in the spread, and he took the over, which, Drew, as long as you're enjoying that mayonnaise, we can agree on this game because I 100% agree with everything you put there. Justin Fields will be playing this game as of now, and the Panthers just can't get it together. Neither can the Bears, but at least you got one starting quarterback that kind of knows what he's doing in this game. Both defenses can't show up, and the Bears just can't. They need to beat the Panthers to take their pick, to ensure the best picks they could have. Meanwhile, as we go to Germany, wunderbar. Let's get some sauerkrauts and wunderbarsness and kielbasis here. We got the Colts playing the Patriots. Sounds like a patriotic game, just not for Germany. Sorry, Germany, we sent that to you. The Pats are +1.5 in this game, and the over-under is 45.5 here. The Colts defense has not been stepping up like they have in the first 2 months of this league, 6 weeks of this league so far this year. The Patriots, 2 wins that just can't put it together themselves. Some people are saying, hey, Billy check. Is it time you hang up your hat? I think at the end of this year, if they can't get close to 500, I think Robert Kraft sits down Bill Belichick and says, hey, you're one of the best head coaches maybe of all time. Maybe you should give up your scouting, or maybe your GM. Maybe there's a little too much going on your plate here. And this is down in Bill Belichick. Hey, man, you're a little over 70 at this point in your life. Maybe you're just hanging up now. So I believe the Colts do win this game. I think the Colts will cover that spread. And I did take the under in this game. And Drew also agreed with me. Drew, you need to stop nagging on this game here. You just need to sit there and pay attention to your own game and stop texting me as I'm trying to read the cues here. Give me 1 second over here. Mr. Drew apparently can't get onto his own podcast here. See how much he's paying attention. Now that we had a lot of signs here. Up next, we go to Sunday football, 1 o'clock. You got the Browns playing the Ravens in one of the best divisions in football going on right now against one of the best teams and one of the best defenses. Arguably some of the two of the top 5 defenses in this league currently. The Browns are +6 and the over-under is 37.5. Drew over here is taking the Ravens to win, the Browns to cover in this game, and he's taking the under. Senior Drew, I am disagreeing with you a lot in this game here. The Browns defense is one of the top defenses, but this is the divisional game, and the Ravens have been on a spanking spree. They have been some of the top teams in football. They just took the Seahawks, bent them over the knee, and slapped them in the behind. They just did the same thing to the Lions previously. I talked bad about them the first month about football, but this team is putting it together. Lamar Jackson is saying, hey, my name is in the MVP hat, and this is what should be happening. I should be the MVP, and he's proven why. He's leading this team to win. So I'm taking the Ravens to win this game. I'm taking them to cover that 6 because I think it's going to be a repeat of the first game they played. It's going to be a spanking against the Browns. And I'm taking the over because I think the Ravens are going to put just enough points to get close to that over, and the Browns will put up points against their division rival here. Up next, we got the Texans playing the Bengals. Bengals. The Texans are +7. Even though CJ Stroud had such a beautiful game last week, they're giving him +7 against that high-powered, so far the past 5 weeks, a fantastic Bengals team with the over-under at 48 points. I'm taking the Bengals to win this game, but I'm going to go with the Texans here to cover this because the Texans defense has been playing well, and this offense has been coming around big time. I jumped on that Texans bandwagon pretty early on, and I think the Texans can play up to some opponents. Granted, the Bengals are a better team. I just think they will play closer in this, and this is screaming, take the Bengals in the spread come Vegas. When Vegas says that, you usually don't follow. I'm also taking the over in this game. As much as I just said, the Texans defense has been playing well. I don't think they're going to play that well against this high-power offense. Mr. Drew here is taking the Bengals, and the over. Damn, dude. It's like you cheated off my sheet. You just don't want to drink any more Mayo coffee. By the way, Drew and I will have to talk about tonight, tomorrow morning when he's coming back from Disney. We're going to have another challenge coming up the next week as he's going to be drinking his gross coffee in front of all you guys. We're going to talk about something that the losing partner of this trio, this duo here, is going to have to do come next week to the loser here, or what they're going to have to do. So, should be quite entertaining. But up next, we have the 49ers, who have lost 3 in a row, playing this powerhouse Jaguars team who has been dominant the past 5 weeks. The Jags are +3 at home with the over-under at 46. Drew's taking the Jaguars to win, to cover, and doing it in the under. Ooh, win, cover, and in the under. Sounds like a setup for a fun night. I will disagree, though. Jaguars have been playing great football. The Niners are coming off a bye. They're a little banged up. If you haven't heard what Drew and I talked about on the trade deadline, they picked up Chase Young as well. So not only do you have to worry about Bosa, you also have to worry about Chase Young. Is he as good as Bosa? No. But you also have to respect him. On that coach defense, he will make a difference. It is not the Washington team that he's playing for anymore. They will utilize good talent the way they should be utilized. So I do think it's going to be more a defensive game. I did take the over in this, even though I'm talking about a defensive game. But that's also because the Jaguars defense has not stepped up. They relied on that offense. I think Brock Purdy was a little messed up, a little more than people let on. I think this bye week is going to help him get right. Same with some of those receivers. You got CMC, who's been one of the top players in the NFL to date, even coming off this bye. I think it's going to be more of an offensive game, and the Niners pull it out. Up next year, we got the Saints going into Minnesota. Oh, Minnesota, don't you know here? Minnesota is plus 2.5 in this game, and the over-under is 41 points. It's kind of a little disrespectful after the showing that Minnesota just did with the third-string quarterback. Granted, it was against not that great of a team, but Dobbs came in there and looked pretty darn good, don't you know? So Drew's going to take the Vikings to win this game. He's taking them to win that the spread, which you have to. Like, it's only 2.5 there. But he's taking the under. Drew, I agree with you for the most part. But I will be taking the over in this game here. I do think the Saints offense isn't that good, especially with Carr. He just doesn't look that good. I mean, what can you say there? But you can also talk about the Vikings defense, who is ranked 31st currently in this league. I don't understand how you could think they might pull it out. So I want to take the Saints. I want to take the Saints to lose. The Vikings are going to cover, and it's going to be in the over. A game that no one asked for. That's probably is perfect for Amazon Prime. Is the Packers going into Pittsburgh Steelers? Well, they're going into Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. The Packers are +3, and the over-under in this game is 39 points. I've been saying all year the Steelers team doesn't know who they want to be. This Packers team did look a little better last week. It depends on which Packers team shows up and which Steelers team shows up, and I do believe that these Packers will show up this week. I do think that they won't cover this. The Steelers will, because I think it's going to be a close game in the over, but just a barely over. Kenny Pickett isn't the most healthy out there right now. Najee Harris doesn't know what he wants to do in the backfield over there. And Mr. Love for the Packers, he looked good for the first 3 weeks of football, but he kind of fell off the wagon. But he looked a little better last week. So I do think he's going to bounce back. I don't think Mr. Small Hands is going to do what he's got to do fully. But I do think it's going to be a close game. And if you're going to bet, El Paso, 100% in this game here. Drew is taking the Steelers to win, Steelers to cover in the under. Once again, like I said, close game. Up next, you got the Tennessee Titans playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucks. I guess a little respect is just +1 at home because, woof, who knows what kind of game this is going to be. The over-under is 38.5 points. Drew is taking the Titans to win this game in Tampa. Obviously, he's going to take them to beat that +1. And he's also going with it over in the 38.5 points there. I actually agree 100%. I think if you actually watched the Titans game last week, Will Levis showed a lot. Granted, he didn't look the best on paper. He also almost got picked off a few times, but he made some really deep ball throws that put D-Hop in this game. He kept the Titans playing close in this past game. It depends on which Baker Mayfield shows up, which Will Levis shows up, and both these defenses have not been playing well. So once again, I'm going Titans in the over. I just think it's too good of a game not to give it to the rookie quarterback because we know what we got in Baker. Up next, one last game before we start talking about them Bills, not them Buffalo Bills. You got the Falcons going into Arizona to play the Cardinals. The Cards are +1.5 at home. And the over-under is 42.5. Drew is taking the Cardinals to win. I'm sorry, you're just taking the Falcons to win. Taking the Falcons to cover. And he's going in the under here. Mr. Drew, I respect your decision there, but I disagree almost wholeheartedly. I'm going with the Cards. Mr. Murray is supposed to show up. He's playing at home as an underdog. He's gotta get up there and put some points up because it's do the Cardinals draft a QB or they keep Mr. Murray here. He's supposed to play. He's got to get there and put some juice in this offense. This defense has been playing well. The Falcons' defense has been playing well. I think it's going to be a silly little shootout between Heine and Kyler. They're just going to go pew, 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 pew down the field for no reason. And it's going to be one of those games that everyone's going to think it's going to be like 10-13, and you might see it showing up being 20-21. Well, hopefully not, like 17-21. Keeping it in the under, keeping that spread, keeping Robbie winning, and Drew drinking that Mayo coffee. Up next, we got some 4 o'clock games, but before we get to those 4 o'clock games here, maybe we'll be paying them bills. Well, if not, you can always go to buy me a cup of coffee. Oh, jeez.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support. If you made it this long, you must have enjoyed it.
This is why Drew is in charge of all this stuff. God darn. Anyway, buy me a coffee.com/2giantgoofballs.com. You can get yourself a limited subscription. You can do a one-time payment of $3 or more. Just help us out, support the show. Sorry that I am goofing up because I'm a goofball. I'm doing all these video clips, and that's why Drew's the producer in charge of all these video clips. And that's why I sit here, look pretty, and talk about the sports. Anyway, let's go to the 4 o'clock games on Sunday. You get the Lions playing the Chargers. Chargers are 2.5 at home. And the over-under in this game is 48.5. Drew is taking the Lions. Drew's taking the Lions to cover this 2.5 points and the over in this game. And Drew, you're talking some sense. Looks like we're going to get a lot of trifectas this week here. The Lions are going to bounce back. Everyone thought maybe the Lions weren't the team that we thought the Lions were when they played the Ravens. No, I think the Ravens were probably that good of a team that we didn't see coming around the corner. The Chargers have been struggling all year, but you know what they're really good at? Finding ways to lose games. There's too much talent on that team. There's too much what should be explosiveness on that team, which they have not been able to put through. And I think the Lions, with that Chargers defense, will be out for blood and get close enough by themselves in that over to get that game going. So, obviously, I'm going to go with the over. Lions to win, Lions to cover, Lions to go. Up next is our game of the week. And if you want to hear in depth about it, tune in tomorrow when Drew's back, hitting the videos at the right time, getting the right taglines in here as I smile and look pretty and wave to you guys. You got the Giants going into Dallas, playing them cow pukes. The Giants, and it's changed a little bit here, but we got it at plus 16. Over under is 38.5 points. This is a little bit of a what's up. This is a little bit of an upset game here. By upset, I mean, as Giants fans, we're just tuning into our podcast Sunday. Drew's taking the Cowboys to win. Giants to cover that plus 16. He's taking the under. I would love to beat the Cowpukes as well, but I have to vomit in my mouth like Drew just did when he drank that mayonnaise coffee. I am taking the Cowboys to win. I'm going to take them to actually cover after the spanking they gave us. And now we got a third-string quarterback that we can't trust to throw the ball against a pretty good pass rush defense team who also has pretty good corners on the outside. It is very rough to think that we won't lose this game, being realistic, in a blowout. Like, we're going to get blown out, Sally, and it's going to be in the over, and we will talk about that tomorrow. The last of the 4 o'clock games. You got them DC Commanders going into Seattle. Both those teams should get rained on. My God, out of the performances they've been putting up the past week. DC is plus 6 points, and the over-under is 45.5 points. Drew's taking them Seahawks to win. He's taking them to cover that spread. And he's also taking that under. And Drew, we're close to getting another trifecta. Not. I'm taking the Hawks to win this game. I think the Seahawks are a good team. I think it's a bounce back game, but the Commanders defense do play a little closer. Granted, yes, they did lose two tough players on this team on their defense, but the Seahawks also play to their level of competition here. And I think DC will cover that 6 points, and it will just inch out to the over. Talking about that, as we got a great comment over here. Spencer asking us to stop beating his Commanders. Sorry, bud. Don't worry. Daniel Jones is out for the year. You might have a shot. And then he also said that he would love us to beat the Cowboys. You know what? I would love it too, but if you're putting your money on this game, I wouldn't do it. Look how well they played against the Eagles, one of the best teams in the NFL currently. Record shows they're the best team. They took them really close, and they messed up. The Cowboys messed up that game, not the Eagles winning that game. So it is hard to say that they're not going to tear us up. All right, Sunday Night Football. We got the Jets going into Vegas. Mr. Zach Wilson is going to have fun at the Bunny Ranch. He's going to hang out with Jimmy G and that messed up back, and he's going to go hang out with all the... Anyway, you got the Raiders plus 1.5 points, and the over on this game is 36. Drew's taking the Jets to win. He's taking the Jets to cover, and he's taking the under. I guess, Drew, you're hoping that the other MetLife team is going to get revenge for the shellacking that the Raiders put on us. But I think Antonio Pierce put some life in this team. I think there's a little more juice in there, and I think the air is a little bit out of the tire when it comes to the Jets, especially with all this talk this past week talking about Aaron Rodgers. Is he coming back for the end of the year? Can he do it? Will he be coming back? I think the defense on those Vegas Raiders are too good. Not that I put a lot of hope and commitment into Mr. Hoyer to get the ball down the field, but I think they know that Josh Jacobs needs to run the ball down the field. So I do agree this game will be in the under, but I do think the Raiders will squeak out that win because Mr. Pierce himself, Mr. Former Giant, Mr. Super Bowl former Giant over here. So let's move into Monday Night Football here. Monday night. It's not as fun with that, Drew. Drew, can you just put in the comments? Night. So Monday night, we got the Broncos going into Buffalo, playing the Bills. I always wonder what kind of bill they're supposed to be playing. Is it like a duck platypus? Is it supposed to be a duck? I never figured that out. Who else has a bill out there? It's a dollar bill. Anyway, the Buccaneers are plus 7.5 points here. Yes, the Broncos are plus 7.5, which is probably right for the most part. But we'll get into that on my turn here. The over-under is 47.5 points. Drew's taking the Bills to win this game. The Broncos to cover, and he's taking the under. And Drew, if you get that right, we got another trifecta on our hands here. So this Bills team is a better team on paper and has played better all year round. But that Broncos defense has showed up the past 2 weeks and is playing better than they have been playing all year. They're playing like they should have been playing, and how Sean Payton said they're going to be playing for 10 weeks now. The question is, can you trust Russell Wilson to throw the ball down the field and then make a difference in this game? Especially against the Bills defense has been banged up, injured, and playing closer to teams that they shouldn't be. Look what the Giants did to them. Just the second half of the season, thus far, they have played way too close, and they had significant injuries. The Broncos defense, like they've been looking a little healthier. Like Russell Wilson's been looking a little better, and they got some significant like injuries coming off on that offense. So I do believe that the Broncos will cover that 7.5. They still may lose by 6, but they're not going to lose by over a touchdown, especially because I'm betting that more on the Bills than on the Broncos here. I'm also taking the under as well because I don't have a lot of faith in either of these teams to put up a lot of points. The Bills had every right to put a shellacking on the Giants, and they couldn't. Granted, the Giants, we got to give ourselves some props. We're probably a better defense than the Broncos here, but the way they're playing, like, I don't know. Joe, I wish you were here to give me some comments, but I want to say it's going to be closer to like a 17-23, 17-21 game. I would even edge out a 17-24, being a 7-point difference. Now, if it goes to a 6.5, you might want to stay away from this game. If it goes higher up towards the Broncos and there's no more key injuries here, then yeah, stay on the Broncos on this cover here. But as soon as it starts etching down under 6, take the Bills all day or in the push. But yeah, that being said, we'll be back. Well, I will be back. Drew will be joining us tomorrow night because Drew's enjoying, once again, his disgusting coffee. He's enjoying his time in the bathroom because he can't enjoy all those fun rides because he's enjoying his toilet paper time. And, yeah, we'll be breaking down the Giants game. We'll be talking about how great the Giants will look playing the Cowboys. And I mean that with the best sarcasm I could possibly mean. We'll also be breaking down more of the injuries coming up, more of key analysis that we have coming into this game. And then, other than that, if you're watching live, thank you for listening. If you're not watching live, well, thank you for listening in podcast land because we truly appreciate all the likes and loves that you guys give out to us. We're on every single streaming platform out there, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're out there on YouTube if you're watching live. We're out there on Facebook, Twitch. Drew's. Oh, where are you, Drew? We're on his LinkedIn page somewhere. But yeah, we're on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Deezer, Dozer, wherever you have some kind of cast in there. And then we'll be live tomorrow, starting at 8 o'clock, because we got that Thursday night football game kicking off. And then, as always, Giants fans, go J-Man! 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 J-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support. If you made it this long, you must have enjoyed it. So I am sure you have followed us on all the social media platforms. Of course, you have subscribed to the show on your favorite app as well and given us a top rating. Right? Right? Right?